It's 9 on a Friday night. You've got your phone out, and you're scrolling your contacts. You're not looking for anyone in particular. You're just going down the list, name after name, waiting for one of them to feel possible. Coworker, cousin, a guy from a job you left in 2019. Someone you'd have to explain 4 years to before you could even say you're lonely. You reach the bottom of the list. You put the phone face down on the arm of the couch. Then the sentence arrives, the way it always does, quiet and matter-of-fact, like a weather report. Nobody would want to hear from me anyway. Notice how fast that came. You didn't work it out. It showed up already finished, like it had been waiting years for someone to open the list. Somebody wrote that sentence. I don't think it was you. Ask anyone why they have no friends, and watch how quickly the answer comes back. I'm boring. I'm too much. There's something about me that people can feel in the first 10 minutes. That's a verdict, and you've never once looked at the evidence. So let's look at it. Researchers went hunting for what actually turns two strangers into friends. What they found had surprisingly little to do with what either of them was like. This isn't a glitch in you. It's code that's been running for a very long reason. Stay with me. One thing built every friendship you've ever had. You've never thought about it. And it stopped happening to you years ago. I'm Cody, and today we're decoding why some people end up with no friends. Let's open the case file. Not the advice you've already heard. Put yourself out there, join a club, say yes more. All of it assumes you're not trying hard enough. I want to know why the trying stopped working. 3 clues. The third one is why this gets worse on its own. Nobody warns you about that one. In 1950, 3 researchers walked into a housing complex for married students at MIT with one question: who here is friends with who? They expected what you'd expect: shared interests, similar backgrounds, the kind of personalities that click. That's not what the data said. One thing predicted friendship better than anything about the people themselves: the distance between their front doors. 2 out of 3 close friendships were with someone living within a few doors. Next-door neighbors were the most likely of all. People at opposite ends of the same short hallway barely knew each other. Same building, same kind of people, a few dozen steps apart. And it got stranger. Some apartments happened to sit at the foot of the stairway. Those residents ended up with far more friends on the floor above than anyone else did. They hadn't done a thing. The building just pushed more people past their door. Sit with that, because it's the whole case. Friendship followed foot traffic. Of course, who you are still counts. Once people are in the same room, what they have in common decides who they pick. But you never reach that step with someone you don't pass. There's another study I think about a lot. 4 women sat in on a big college lecture. One came 15 times. One came 10. One came 5. One never showed up at all. None of them ever spoke to a single student. At the end of term, the students were asked which of the 4 they liked. The rankings followed attendance almost perfectly. The more a face had simply been in the room, the warmer people felt toward it. Nobody in that lecture hall knew they were doing that. They'd have told you they were judging character. That's what you're up against. At the start, being liked runs mostly on one thing: showing up in the same place over and over, until your face stops being new. So think about where you've had friends. School, a dorm, a team, that job with a bad break room where everyone hid at 3 in the afternoon. Every one of them was a machine for accidental repetition. You didn't schedule those people. You couldn't avoid them. You were poured into the same room 5 days a week for years. Friendship happened to you the way weather happens to you. Then it stopped. Nobody announced it. You graduated, or you moved, or the job changed, and the machine switched off. It had been making your friendships in the background this whole time. For free. You never once noticed it was running. Here's the number that should make you angry rather than ashamed. A researcher went and measured how long it actually takes 2 people to move from strangers to friends. Roughly 50 hours together before someone becomes a casual friend. Around 90 before they're a friend. More than 200 hours before you'd call them close. 200 hours. That's a full month of 40-hour weeks spent doing nothing but hanging around. You had that in school and had no idea you were spending it. Now count what your week actually offers. A few hours, maybe.
spread across people who all have to check a calendar first. And the hours have to be the right kind. That same research looked at time spent working side by side. The meeting, the shift, the group project, it barely moved the needle. What counts is the unstructured time, the nothing time. Sitting in a parked car, waiting for food, the 40 minutes after the thing ends when nobody's left yet. Adulthood is very efficient. It deleted the nothing time first. Then you sit there at 9 on a Friday and decide that people don't like you. You're explaining a 200-hour problem with a sentence about your personality.
Now think of someone you used to see without ever planning it. Not a close friend. The man at the same coffee place every morning. Same corner, same wobbly chair. You talked about nothing at all. The weather, his knee, whether the espresso machine was finally dying. You'd never have called him a friend. He was also one of your favorite parts of the day. Then the place closed. You stood outside on the last morning and did the thing everyone does. You said you should give coffee sometime. You know how this goes. You didn't.
And watch where your mind went. Straight past the closed door. Straight past the corner and the wobbly chair. Straight to this. He didn't really want to. I was the one who liked it more. Months later, you saw him across the street. Something in you decided he'd rather not, before you'd even finished seeing him. So you let the moment go by. You will never know what he would have done. I've let a moment like that go by. I remember how sensible it felt at the time.
There's a mechanism under that. Loneliness does something sneakier than hurt. It changes what you're able to see. Go long enough without close company, and your system starts scanning for rejection before any arrives. Neutral faces start reading as cold. A slow reply reads as an answer. Researchers have watched this happen underneath awareness. The lonelier a person gets, the more social threat they find in perfectly ordinary faces. And it makes brutal sense. For most of our history, your group was your food and your defense. Being cast out of it could kill you.
So the mind treats loneliness the way it treats hunger, an alarm that won't switch off until you go back. It also makes you watchful. When you're alone, a hostile face is the most dangerous thing in the world. The trouble is what that alarm costs you now. It makes you flinch first. It makes you not wave. You go quieter. The world never noticed you were there, so it doesn't come looking. And your evidence file gets one more page. See? Nobody. Every page in that file was written by a system trying to protect you.
One honest thing before the verdict, because I'm not here to sell you something. Some of this is genuinely hard. No amount of reframing makes the hours any smaller. The machine really is off. If you're going to have a close friend again, somebody has to rebuild the accidental part on purpose. Same place, same time, over and over, until it stops being a plan and starts being a habit. It's slow and a little humiliating, and it works. So here's the verdict. You didn't lose your friends because of who you are. You lost the rooms that made friends possible, and nobody ever told you the rooms were doing the work. The proof is sitting in your own history. You've had friends, real ones. Every setting that ever put you near the same people long enough, it happened.
No technique, no personality transplant, no version of you other than the one sitting there right now. Same you, different room. That sentence you heard at 9 on a Friday, "Nobody would want to hear from me," is a guess made in the dark by a system that's been on alert so long it forgot it's allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to put it down. And if there's someone your life just stopped putting in front of you, here's the thing worth knowing about the wave you didn't give. You don't actually know what they'd have done. You only know what your alarm predicted. And your alarm has been wrong before. Mine has.
So tell me, who's the person you'd honestly be glad to see who just stopped being in the room? First name only, drop it in the comments. I read them. And if this cracked something open, there are more cases where this came from. Subscribe and follow along as we decode more of the quiet things we've all been getting wrong about ourselves. Case closed for now. I'm Cody.